we find profit in process. That's right. And we like to say we scale structure, not red tape, because growth starts behind the scenes, and businesses don't scale on hustle. They scale on systems. Once processes and procedures are documented, they become repeatable, trackable, efficient, trainable, and that's how you unlock profit hiding behind the scenes.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Tiffany, and I'm the host of Unveiling Journeys. Man, let me just tell you, I'm happy you're here. I have amazing things that I always want to tell you in all the episodes. So just a tiny bit about me. I I love the power of networking. I love hanging out with cool people. And when I get a chance to hang out with super cool people, I ask them, wow, you're so cool. Who do you know that I need to know? But at the same time, I know some people that I think need to know you. And like vice versa, kind of all the way around the circle. And in that, I feel like I've met some of the neatest people, the coolest people, their inventions, their companies, their products, their everything. And I want to tell you guys about them. So with that, I have an amazing guest for you and I love what she's doing. And that's why I brought her on. So, Dianne, tell everybody, first of all, thank you for coming on the show. Um, Super excited to have you here. Tell everybody a little bit about what you're doing right now, like what you're up to and your company.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Tiffany. I'm really happy to be here. My company is called Productivity, and I document small business process and procedure to help them regain some lost profit.
This is awesome. I need a little bit further explanation only because you told me documenting processes when I realized as a solopreneur, then entrepreneur, then company owner, I'm doing all of this stuff on autopilot, not always great. And then when I need to hire someone on, you're like, oh, that's it. That's like, I need to help you. I'm like, if I'd known you years ago, but now I do. And now people don't have to be in that spot where I was, that I can just tell people about you now. So what does that feel like when someone needs you or like they identify as like, what do you mean? Tell me more.
So I try to connect with small business at maybe the $1 million to $5 million revenue stream, where it's not nothing that they got there, but then to get from 5 to 10 to get to that next level, oftentimes their operations don't scale with their growth. And if that happens, they'll get held back. And I want to jump in right then and there at that point and make sure that they've got a 10 to 20 year system that will scale with them for processes and procedures so they can grow as fast as they want.
This is cool. This is cool. Because I mean, by the time you get to the point where maybe you got a few employees or, you went from solopreneur to more, you have all of this knowledge in your head and you're just doing it. And you've never even considered the fact that you need to translate this because a small business owner growing into medium business owner, you cannot always be irreplaceable. Like if you are unable to be replaced, your business is probably running you. And you need to consider all these little avenues and the people of these inventions that people have come up with that you need to know about them. So like this is your little wake up call. If you're here and you're hanging out and you're like, "What? I didn't know this was a thing," that someone as an expert can come out and document this process for you so that you can make yourself duplicatable and be able to come bring them on the scene and make your company far better with this plan and projections and all the above. That was why I was so excited to have Dianne come on because I realized years ago I needed someone like that. And you may be in that spot right now. And I just wanted to kind of um like tout that because this is so cool. I didn't know this was a thing. And now I know like there's people that will do this. And you're one of them and you're so kind and nice. And I love the way that your brain thinks about this, which is why I wanted to have you come on. Do me a favor though.
Yeah,
This
you're
is
right.
Unveiling Journeys. Like I want to tell people about your whole story. Where are you from? And like, what did you want to be when you grew up? What'd you go to school for? Like, let's start there.
I grew up in Palos Verdes, which is an oceanside community in Southern California. I went to school for business. I have a bachelor's of science in marketing, and um, in I was lucky enough to fall into some really exciting um, tech inventions that changed the way people work. So I started out with working for Palm for the Palm Pilot. And that really was the beginning of how people moved from paper to digital in terms of just the world of work and everything that they did. Our tagline was, cut the cord, not the access. And so when everything started becoming mobile and digital and in the palm of your hand, I moved from there to Microsoft, and that was where I had more of a exposure to global accounts, and so I spent 30 years selling into and operating within some of the most complex global organizations in the world, and I'm
Yeah.
really grateful for my career. What I learned was operational strength is the hidden lever that scales real growth. And during my tenure working for these large corporations, I had the opportunity to lead enterprise sales and channel programs, which consisted of advising and managing small business as part of broader strategic initiatives. And that work gave me firsthand knowledge of the friction points that stall growth and the operational systems that can solve them profitably. And I developed a real love for small business and small business owners and the grit and the courage that it takes to start a business and see it through and grow it. And so, the first chance I had, I founded my company Productivity so that I could focus exclusively on small businesses and deliver the enterprise level best practices that I learned in process management to small business at more of a practical, cost effective scale designed to help them increase their efficiency and their profits through documentation. And I realized from my years of working with small business that that was a key point that often um, that they struggled with quite a bit. And process improvement is the silent growth lever. It really is. And so I developed a lot of skills in that, and I wanted to bring that to my clients. So I have a vision to join others in building thriving communities where small businesses really flourish.
Yeah.
There's that quote, as go small businesses, so go their communities. And I believe that the health and success of a community is directly tied to the health and success of its small businesses.
That is incredible. I do, because you go in these cute little towns. Even like I say little town for California is 200,000, even though it sounds
Yeah,
obnoxious for other people, but the small business runs America. I mean, like, what if not for my dry cleaner? What if not for, a little hair salon? What if not for, like, the little people? Not just Walmart can come in and conquer 100% of everything, right? Try not to do
right.
that, but the idea that this was, placed on you and you found this love for that, but also you thrive in where small business owners possibly don't, and that you have the ability to bring that, like you said, the entrepreneur, or sorry, the enterprise level down to them that they were possibly getting missed, and you've like filled that for them. This is so fun. Why do you feel like um this is, or no, not why, like I always get fascinated whenever I hang out with someone that's like, yeah, this side of this business is like my jam. Like, tell me more about like how that works for you, and just being able to spin your wheels and invent up these things that you've been doing all along really benefit the business owner.
Um, I think I have a natural, just, innate preference for um, documenting things, writing things down and, making them visible. They when things are written down, they become visible. And I, you know, I mean, when we needed to have a pet sitter come in and watch our pets when we went away. I wrote a 13-page ebook about it, for the pet sitter. I was 12. I just have always wanted to, you know, I was enjoyed writing things down. And so when my parents sold their house, I wrote down a 65-point checklist for showing it. I just, like doing that. And when we talk about documenting processes and procedures, we are talking about SOPs, standard operating procedures. And I am on a mission to help people fall in love with the power of a well-written SOP. You know, when was the last time you heard someone say, I just love that SOP? I mean, they have kind of a branding problem. I know SOPs sound dry and dusty and dull. Um, and most SOPs are just checklists that tell people what to do. I have developed a system that shows teams how to think, how to act, how to scale without constant oversight from the owner or management. So my SOPs aren't just documents, they're systems, and systems scale.
Yeah. This is incredible. And this is also how the big guys flourish too. Because if you could take but they always joke around like you take an 18-year-old and plug them into a McDonald's and know at 3 a.m. they can walk in and turn on a fryer. Like they have incredible SOPs to be able to churn through putting a nobody into something and doing work, right?
Yeah. And, when growth starts happening, it's not uncommon for small companies to and maybe early stage businesses to run on informal knowledge. So verbal handoffs, memory, maybe what's in someone's head. I've seen procedures in emails. So, you know, once growth starts happening and more clients or customers enter the realm of the small business and need to be managed and handled, um, you know the ability to repeat in a consistent manner processes and procedures gets lost. And it's not something most companies want to think about or really have the bandwidth to address. But when when you don't have clearly defined and repeatable workflows, standards vary by person. So, a customer calls in and gets one experience if Joe answers the phone, and a different experience if Sarah answers the phone.
You're
Um,
100% right. This is like blowing my mind. Yeah, I never considered that.
yeah, and that means that, training can drag on and it takes a long time for new members to hit the ground running and start being productive. And quality can become inconsistent. And if the person with the knowledge is absent, so is the knowledge. And these things cause hidden profit leaks. So the profit that a company is working so hard to bring in is leaking out in small, hidden, and seemingly unrelated ways. And the fix to that is to document the processes and procedures so that you allow um, repetition and consistent quality instead of inefficient workflows and duplicated efforts and mistakes. And so when you make work visible, um,
This
that's the
brings up like
solution.
an incredible point. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I feel like by you going in and documenting processes, you've possibly not just made the company more money, but like saved the company a ton of money in those little bitty things that add up to a huge picture.
Yeah. Yep. We find profit in process. That's right. And we like to say we scale structure, not red tape, because growth starts behind the scenes, and businesses don't scale on hustle; they scale on systems. Once processes and procedures are documented, they become repeatable, trackable, efficient, trainable, and that's how you unlock profit hiding behind the scenes.
Hmm. This is so cool. What when someone is thinking to themselves, gosh, I really I might need some help. Like, what are some of those things where they're, like, self-identifying where like, "Oh, yeah, this is when you need to call me." They can, like, almost self-identify right now by you letting them know.
Um, well, 2 things. I have a completely free, completely anonymous, and private process diagnostic on my website. Anybody can go on there, download it. I have specifically made it a PDF instead of, an online version because I want the person taking the diagnostic to feel like their answers are only seen by them and no one else. They don't have to give me their email to download it. They can just go on my website, click it, download it, and they'll be the only ones that see it. And it's a series of 24 statements that they can rate themselves on. They can rate their company on. And then they just add up their score and plot it on a matrix that tells them where they are in terms of, maybe needing documentation help. Uh, it's on a scale, you know, uh, at, from 0 to 125. They're doing great. They're the best practice poster child. And if they're 0 to 40, maybe they're in the red zone and they, need help immediately. And then, there are various, um, spectrums along the way. Um, I think, I think signs that you've outgrown your early hustle and you need processes and procedures documented show up um, in maybe ways that a company, might not notice. That's why they're hidden profits, and that's why I created that diagnostic so that um, it's hard to take a step back, especially from an owner perspective, and kind of get a 10,000 view of your company from a holistic perspective. And so that's what that diagnostic does for you. So I think it's one of the challenges of the small business segment that I serve is that they don't necessarily notice that they're losing profit. And it's because a lot of the time it's a bunch of little things that don't show up on a profit and loss statement or in any financials. And yet they're leaving money on the table, hard earned money that they brought into their company that they're losing just because their processes are not repeatable.
Yeah. This is a really good points, pain points, if not somebody identifying. In fact, you have a little freebie handout for someone to identify that and be like, "Come talk to me," you know?
Yeah.
Um, at this point, people are thinking like, I want to know you. Tell me how do I find you? What's your website or favorite way for them to contact you?"
Yeah. I think the website is great. It's yourproductivitypros.com. And there's a way to book time with me right on there, as well as all my contact information on there. The diagnostic is on there. There's some great blogs that are free, and there's some downloadable ebooks that provide, you know, valuable templates and checklists that could get you started in a DIY perspective right away, and they cost nothing. And as well, I'm happy to talk, to anyone about kind of what's happening in their company, just for free, just to see if there's anything I can guide them into that would maybe help get them started. A lot of business owners kind of feel overwhelmed when you talk about documenting everything they do at the company. And I can see that that sounds like a big job for someone who, doesn't love SOPs. However, I do have, some advice on those blogs about like where to start. My advice is start small. Pick one key process in your company. Maybe that's delivery, to a customer of a service. Maybe that's, how to handle leads when they come in, lead management, or some key process that goes on in your company, and just take that one process, write it down, and then optimize it. And I have plenty of information on my blogs that tell you exactly how to do that. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of free, really valuable information. Come visit the website.
Perfect. And then if you're like, I don't remember the website, what's in the show notes? And then you're going to friend me on LinkedIn. You're going to look up Diane's name. So that way you can follow all of her good posts and everything on there too. Um, this can sound, I think people already understand and know, but tell me, why do you care so much? Like, why do you keep showing up for all your clients?
Well, I have a love of small business, and I think that a lot of times the struggle is real to try to, stay in business and grow the business. And there is a tremendous high percentage of businesses that start and fail. And I feel um, very motivated to be a resource for small business to, make sure they get over um, that gap when they get a little big, but they can't get bigger. And so I think operations is the key to that.
Absolutely. This is so nice to be able to hear that someone's in their wheelhouse where it's some spot that I don't want to be in. One of my favorite things to remind people of is like, be the best kind of where you are and then hire the experts. Like, I certainly don't want to do my taxes every year. I hired the best guy possibly that could do that. I'm not going to do all these little silly things that are so important in someone else's world and they just love it and they've perfected it. And I want to hire them out and I want to pay them the best because the time, effort, energy it would take for me to partially do it. Like, what's that phrase? You're the jack of all, but you're the master of none. I want to be the
Yeah,
master of
right.
what I am. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want your business to you should be the master of whatever it is. And you may even find in documenting some of these processes that you may be a better fit and like a niche of your company and you let someone else carry another division for you so you can really thrive even better and have like a refreshing viewpoint of even the very business that you have. Um, Now this has been really fun. Let's do this. I want you to tell me some of your favorite like nuggets and pieces of wisdom that we'll end up wrapping up the show with.
Yeah. Okay. So I would like to remind small business owners that, um, as hard as they're working, as much business as they're bringing in, um, growth starts behind the scenes, and the hidden growth lever is operations and processes. And for those who think, that is just going to add a lot of bureaucracy and structure and red tape to, my company, it's actually the opposite. So the more work is visible, the better it becomes trainable and useful to your employees, and the more your teams will become um, functioning without your constant oversight. So we find profit in your process, and I'm happy to help.
Oh, that's awesome. These have been incredible nuggets of wisdom. I love that you have such a big heart for this and the small business in this. But by all means, if you guys don't know, like Diane and I met in this incredibly high level networking room, and she's a lovely, generous person. So if you're hanging out with her and she's like, you know what, this isn't my thing, I got a guy for you. It's like both of us. We just know that we've got a guy for you. We've got a connection. If not, I'm the perfect fit for it. So if you're even just like, I resonate with her, I need to know her, reach out, go hang out with her. She's a wealth of knowledge in everything that she's doing. And I can't wait to be able to have you guys go straight to her website. So thank you, Diane, for coming and being on the
Thank
show.
you.
I appreciate your time. You're such a gem in all the stuff that you love to do that I don't love to do. And that's why I need these incredible people in my life. Oh, my dear. And by the way, thank you guys so much for staying for the episode. You made it this far. Go and hit subscribe. And I can't wait to see you guys on the next episode. Friend me on LinkedIn. Anybody that you need to know, we got a guy. And then we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Tiff. Bye.